Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Always Moving podcast. This is your host, Lyndon Suvanto, and today I am joined from a guest. He's in the mountains, about 40K into the mountains, somewhere outside of Terrace, BC. Milan Laban? Am I pronouncing it right? Laban. Oh, okay, I didn't have my Serb accent. For everyone that doesn't know you, want to give yourself a little intro? What are you doing in the mountains? Who you are? Your background?
Sure. I bet a lot of people that are probably watching this podcast know me as Dushin's little brother. But yeah, I'm in the
You've got to probably be bigger than him now.
Maybe width-wise. I don't know. That was my one goal when I was younger, is to be taller than him, and I never got to be taller. But yeah, man, I'm in the mountains. I'm working safety for a construction company, and we're putting the pipe in the mountain, or blasting the mountain, or doing all that nitty gritty stuff. I'm unfortunately not that nitty gritty guy, though. I'm sitting in the office all freaking day, so I'm not getting down and dirty like these pipeliners are. But yeah, just starting my career out pretty much.
Nice. Why did you decide safety? Are you a narc?
No, I'm just no narc. Hey, no. That's what do you call it? That's like something that we're taking out of safety. It's 2022, Lyndon. Everyone needs to stay safe, right?
Yeah, well, that's true.
No, well, first off, I'd never had really good grades in high school. And I just kind of came out of high school and I was like, I really don't know what I want to do with myself. I took a year off, and my dad, who honestly knows me knows me better than anyone. He told me, he's like, you know what, just try this out. Just go to Nate, check an open house, and safety seems like it's good for you. Like there's shift work. There's endless opportunities, because now when you're in Canada, everybody needs safety. So there's endless opportunities for jobs, whether you want to go into healthcare, construction, like anything. I decided to go, and I was like, screw it. I was like, it's just 2 years. I'll just do it. And I finished the 2 years and got hired right away. Like, that was one of the things he told me, is like, it's really good, like, employment rate. So I was like, let's just do it. And I did it. And here we are.
How's it been?
Honestly, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think like work is work for a majority of the people in the world.
Yeah.
Not everyone's a professional podcaster and has fun with their job.
Well, you
know. But no, like, work is work. But I think it's most important that you work with people that are cool around you.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, I've had very cool people working with me for my first ever job, like, where it's actually like a serious job. I'm quite thankful. I'm not looking forward to, if I ever have the time, to work with someone I really dislike. So we'll see.
As someone who's had many different jobs, trust me, when I used to work with your brother a couple times, and then when I work with some absolute weirdos, you definitely can tell the difference in your day. I tell you that.
Just stress ball sometimes.
Yeah. So I got you on. I wanted to talk water polo, but before we jump in, because I don't know shit about water polo, and that's why I'm like, I want to find out, but we may as well do it in pod form, because I feel like a lot of other maybe handball guys don't know what the fuck, like, the nitty gritty of it is. But before we jump in, I want to talk to you about today's NBA trades, and what are your thoughts? I loved it.
Right. What were all of them today?
Let's just talk the Sabonis, Halliburton, Kings, Pacers.
I honestly didn't mind it. Like Halliburton, he's like very defensive minded, you know, like but he's also a playmaker. But it's not like he's gonna get you a bucket like De'Aaron Fox is. So like in our group chat, like the whole entire argument against the people that were against me was that like he's gonna be so good all around that he's gonna be able to lead the team. And it's like, you already have De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Sabonis is a multiple-time All-Star. Like, the guy is a very good freaking
player.
And he's also a big who can control the ball on top, and like, he's a playmaker as well.
Yeah.
So take that out of De'Aaron Fox. If he doesn't pass the ball around, it doesn't matter, because he can score, and I think that's most important. You have a big who can pass, and as we all know, that's very important. Looking at Jokic, all right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a fan of that trade, and
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and
when I was looking at it, and like, I didn't really see all the message, because people are just blowing up the chat today about that trade. Is you look at the Kings, it was all just guard heavy, and they needed someone good down low. Like, Rashawn Holmes is fine, Marvin Bagley sucks, Thomas sucks,
bag tag.
But like, I feel like it just gives the team more rounded, well-rounded offense. At least people criticize maybe the defensive end, but come
But
on, score
they
160
draft
points.
they drafted Davion Mitchell to
Yeah,
be a guard who can defend, and
yeah,
so far it hasn't panned out. But he's a freaking rookie, so who
yeah.
like just some
I
time. But
I think it's a good trade. I'm happy both teams did it because both
yeah,
teams needed to do something.
yeah.
And
But I have an odd feeling in my stomach that Sacramento's just gonna scoop this one more time. They always do.
yeah. Well, that's history.
Yeah. But
And
Chappelle's got McCollum. That's a big move. I like
I
that.
love it, man. I'm so pumped.
I
When it
love
popped
it.
up on my Twitter, I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
Where'd this come from? Fuck.
Well, because like I think even yesterday I said I'm like they're gonna trade for CJ McCollum. They're gonna give Josh Hart, Satoransky, and picks. And then like Jovi, of course. Oh, why the hell would they do that? Boom. 12 hours later, it comes through.
Oh, not Satoransky though. Come on.
Oh no, it's Santo. But yeah, I was thrilled about that trade. And if anyone
That would be
listening
too.
wants to hear my thoughts on it, I released an episode earlier today, so go check that out.
I will listen to that. I promise.
All right, enough NBA. That was good. It was a good deadline. Hopefully there'll be more, but those were like some of the big names, so I'm not too optimistic what's going to happen. But let's talk water polo, man.
Do it.
So as a handball player, we every time we travel in North America or throughout Canada or anywhere, we always get what's handball, and then you got to describe it to somebody. So we always, or like I always described it as water polo on land. But how would you describe water polo to people that don't know what it is?
We described it as handball. Essentially, we would say it's like handball, and then people would be like,
Handball in the
"What's
water.
handball? Like, how do you play handball?" And then I'd be like, "Okay, think of it as like a mix of like soccer, but you're just throwing the ball and in the water. That's essentially it. No, actually, you know what? I think we use basketball and soccer because basketball you play offense and defense. Like every player plays offense and defense,
Yeah.
and then soccer just like the way the game flows. Like so, yeah, that was pretty much my comparison all over the map.
Yeah, and it was always like, oh, you play handball, the wall one? No, not 16 guys 6 feet tall or more are all traveling to slap the ball against the wall.
Yeah, get out of here. That's prison games.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of, I've watched very little of water polo. When it's on like Olympics or something, I'll catch it or something. Like
Yeah.
what are like the rules in this game? Is there offside? Like in soccer, is there like a line you can't go past a defender or something like that? And is there like a crease for the net? Like you got to go real basic with me here.
I will. Okay, so offside, there is a 2 meter line. Okay, so that 2 meter line is from the net goal line to 2 meters. And that's essentially where the offside takes place. So no matter where you are in the pool over that 2 meter line, if you pass it and you receive a shot, you receive a ball,
Yeah.
it's like automatic turnover. So like it goes to the other team
Yeah.
and you just continue on. There's no crease. You can like walk the ball into the net. So like that's like that's where it differs from handball. It's similar to handball in the setup because the setup is still around the crease.
Yeah.
And our center, like our whole set, he's in the middle and he sits actually on the 2 meter line.
Yeah.
So like the closer he is to the net, the better because
Yeah.
if he gets the ball, it's like easier for him to score. And that's essentially who the game revolves around. Like if that's where the most exclusions happen, that's like where the highest probability of scoring chances happen. So yeah, that is if you can get the ball to the whole entire game revolves around getting the ball to the whole set. Like we
Is
tell
that the
every time
best player?
not necessarily, no, not necessarily,
Okay.
but like that's like typically like the biggest and strongest player. Like you can, if you have a really good whole set, your life's a lot easier for everybody on offense. Because if you can get that ball to him, like you get man ups. That's what we call
Yeah.
them. Like if someone gets an exclusion, and then like I said, higher probability to score goals. But then again, if like you have someone who has a really good defender in that position, like it's moot. Like it doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
But I
What were you
I was actually the defender for the most part of the whole set. Because I wasn't super, super big, but I was lanky, so I could get around and get the ball.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then what are the positions then? Like, how does it line up, or like, how do you kick, what do you kick off? I'd say like the kickoff, a toss off or something. How do you start a game? And
It's pretty much the same as handball. Like once, okay, well, first actually, to start off every quarter, you start off on your sides of the. You're not allowed to kick off the wall when you do this, but we start off with a swim ball. So everybody starts off on one side, and then typically the ref would stand on one end of the pool. One end of the pool in the middle, and he blows whistle, and you'd sprint to get the ball, and then whoever gets the ball, that's how you start possession. Now, if a goal is scored, it's like pretty much the same as handball. Like you'd start back in the middle, like you'd be in the middle. Ref would blow the whistle, you throw it back, and then set up.
So the beginning, then it kind of looks like dodgeball. When like the balls are lined up in the middle and the team's running.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Except there's just one ball at the end of the pool. Actually, in professional though, they have like a little like buoyant like thing that holds the ball right in the middle. Yeah. And then like it goes underwater and like has a weight that's on it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the fancy stuff. But I got to play a little bit internationally once, and that's when I was like, damn, I made it. Once we have the ball in the middle of the pool, I've made it.
Yeah. For us, it's like the beautifully like assembled court. When the court for handball, when it was like this rubber kind of spongy turf, it was like, oh shit, that's big time.
Yeah. Like only handball lines, and that's it on the court. You're like, oh yeah.
This is actually for our game. Oh god.
We're not at like a rec center anymore. Thank God,
man. So what are like the rules when you come together to get the ball or you try to steal the ball? You can't like dip the guy's head underwater or anything like that, or can you? Or is it frowned upon, or what?
It's like it's not that it's complicated to explain, but it's very situational. Yeah. So like if I were to be protecting the ball and I had it, if the guy is attacking me, we have like it's a stoppage in play, which we like just call a foul. It's just like a regular minor foul. Yeah. So it's if someone commits to steal the ball and like they don't do it in any way without like taking your position away or like by grabbing you and pulling you, right? Yeah. So once they do that, it's very common, like these stoppages in plays happen all the time, unless your team is just like crazy good and like they have unbelievable leg strength and they just continue to do two hands up and like try to steal the ball constantly. So typically those infractions happen, like someone would grab you and they pull you down, and that's when the stoppage of play would be. It's also important because fouls are important for defense as well, because like if they foul you and the whole set, like I was mentioning, gets open, you can go to crash back so that they can't pass the ball back. And then you potentially do something called like a drop, and like you'd all drop back on the whole set and you put up blocks instead of defending your players one-on-one. Yeah. So you put up blocks just so you can force the shot from the outside. Yeah. So that they could, the goalie, exactly. They can't get it to the higher percentage score type thing. Yep. Yeah. Nice. And also, so those are pretty much what like the minor infractions are. But I've always like had this like perception in like my mind. It's like if I can't see it happen, like it's allowed. Like, and we're underwater. So like underwater. That's what I was gonna say. Tons. I've been assaulted a couple times to say the least. Like, it hasn't gotten good. It's not good. Like you just get scratched up. Like, thank God, like they started doing this, but refs would take you out before every single tournament, and they would check your nails to see how long they are, because like you'd have slits going down your body, like literally like you're fighting a cat. Like it's nuts. Some people just their hygiene or their nails was just like, oh, it was disgusting. But no, you get punched, kicked. Refs can notice this. Yeah. But like it has to be like quite obvious. Yeah. Like you have to like, if you're doing this underwater, like, they'll be like, you're just destroying someone. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I mean, if I could swim half-assed for shit, I'd like to try some underwater, whatever it takes to win stuff. Yeah. Can you be opposed? Can you climb on top of someone else? No, well, no, because then that's where like the whole entire like minor foul and major foul happens. Like if you're obviously doing something that's like me punching someone, that's like a major foul. Like you're out of here. Exactly. Yeah. Like going over top of someone's head, like over top of them. like if you're like also like if you're impeding him from like a goal scoring opportunity, like if he's going on like a 1-on-0 and like you grab his leg,
Yeah.
like you're getting kicked out for sure, which I'll take any day like of me getting a man down instead of him going on a 1-on-0. Like I'll take that if like the game's tight or something like that. But yeah, it's like
Can you go underwater?
Yeah, you can. I remember, let me
just
tell you
appear on the
a
other
really
side.
cool video. Yes, let me tell you a really cool video. And this was like when I started off water polo, and I was just like obsessed. So I'd watch like top 10 goals, like, and like this was like 2007, 8. So like the videos weren't good, but like let alone them being in the water, like trying to like get good HP, like it's impossible. Like all the videos we had growing up were like horrible for water polo. But I remember my favorite goal was the goalie saved the ball and the other team was going on offense. So this guy dove from his own side and went all the way under everyone. And his defenders like, where the heck did this guy go? And also he just popped up and thank God his teammates saw him. He just passed to him and 1-on-0 just scored the goal. Like while everyone was set up, he just came out of nowhere. So I remember that being my favorite goal. So yes, the long-winded answer, you can score a goal going underwater, but it's like, it's not very common that it happens. Like it's hard to do.
Someone sees you and starts kicking you.
Just squishes you on the bottom of the pool.
So that actually segues nice into what I was going to. When you first started, how did you get into water polo?
So I was off the walls as a kid, right? So I was crazy. Like I'd play soccer and like I'd still get back and have a lot of energy. And like this was during the winter, right? So it's not like you could play like 90-minute games of soccer as a kid or anything like that. Like you have to go indoors and it was like YMCA type stuff and whatever. And also there was like sports were more expensive and everything because like you had like hockey that like was crazy expensive, like even soccer too, like if you wanted to get into clubs and stuff like that, like lots of travel. But so I had also very flat feet and I couldn't, like, it hurt to like run. So I had to get like whatever those gels were and everything like that, but they never did the job. So my parents, they like water polo is like very popular where I'm from in Serbia. And we're like, it's one of the national sports. It's like soccer, basketball, tennis now, and like water polo are like our main sports. And like they knew about water polo obviously because they grew up there and everything like that. So because of my flat feet, they're like, let's just toss him. And like they found a Serbian coach as well. Like, and this guy like used to play for like a long time, and like he was a goalie for like I think a Div 2 team, like professionally, if I'm not mistaken. Like he might have played semi-pro, but like he was really good. And like all of the people that played were Serbian, so like my parents were comfortable with it. And I went in and like they told me like the second I got out of my practice, like I was like dead, right? So they were like, okay, this is good. This is good. Yeah, so they got me. That's how like I initially got into water polo, but like I loved it, man. Oh my gosh, like immediately I loved it. Like I love being in the water anyways, and just like learning how to swim was like one thing. Like like that it was tough like in the beginning, but like it's like once you learn how to do that, then the game just becomes so much more fun. Like you have a ball and you get to like throw it around and just like learning so much as a kid too. It's like it's awesome.
When you start learning, because obviously you could swim before, do you learn a different way to swim or like a way to conserve energy? Because this game looks fucking exhausting. Like I go swimming at our pool here, I'm like, ooh, 10 lengths, that's pretty good. Or like you just got to be just fit as hell and you're just going.
It's so to answer the first part of your question, you have to learn how to swim with your head up. That's like one thing, because like you got to keep swimming with your head up because you have to see the play and like what's happening around you, right? So you got to be always aware. That's like the main stroke that they teach you like in the beginning too. Like obviously like it's important to like learn like egger and like so you can like stay afloat and like eventually so you can throw a ball and whatever. Like legs, I was told once that legs are the most important things in water polo, like no matter what. Like my coach told me, he's like, the three most important things in water polo are legs, legs, and legs. So you gotta like you gotta be like good with your legs so that you can like actually be good at the sport. But head up is the first thing you learn. And secondly, you have to be like in really good shape because it's just you're swimming back and forth, offense, defense. Like you're only allowed to use one hand. Like I said, you're using egg beater the whole time. Like you're literally fighting with another man one-on-one, like to be able to make a to score a goal or something, like whatever you need to do, but like it's constantly one-on-one. Yeah, it's exhausting, but you kind of get into that zone like eventually through the season. Once you get in shape, once you get in shape, you get into that zone, and like it becomes so much fun. It's just one-on-one, and you're just trying to it's honestly it's trying to outlast the other person, pretty much just outwork the other person, which is every sport, of course, but like it's a grind, and I loved it.
I got a couple questions. How long is a game? 4 quarters of something, or like how long are these friggin' games? I'm just thinking of myself trying to play.
I think Olympics. I think.
Well, you're gonna get ripped by every quarter.
Oh, dude! The thing is with us is in Canada, like they changed the formatting of our tournaments, because like there wasn't a lot of people that played water polo in Canada, so they wanted to kind of like change the game up a little bit to like maybe develop specific areas of the game, or develop like, or get more people to come back to play. Yeah, encourage, exactly. So like it's changed up so many times in my life, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 minutes, because like we played 7 minutes at one point, then 9-minute quarters. And I think it's 8 minutes for FINA or like Olympic level.
Okay. And what was the other one? I had a good question. I was curious. Oh, like when you finish these games, are you just dead every time because you're just battling, or are you just kind of pumped up? It's like, oh shit, we won, or you're pissed off because you lost. And I know if you're like your brother, you're a snap show, so you're probably like kicking chairs
and just breaking everything around you. No, honestly, like at the end of the game, like it really depends when in the season we are. If it's in the beginning, yeah, we're pretty freaking exhausted because we're out of shape, and it's like a full summer of doing jack shit and
probably not
playing around. Yeah, no, because it's like a year of like there would be times like where we'd have to train and we swim like, I think the most we ever swam in a day was like 8 kilometers for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like something like that, and it's like exhausting. So by the end of the year, like middle of the year, end of the year, like that's when like you're like you could play more. I know, like, and second part, no, I'm not a snapshot like my brother. No, we played soccer with him this year, and like men's league soccer, and like he turned into Dushan a couple times, and I was like, oh,
there he is.
I get it. Just freaking the switch goes off, and he's looking it at this guy, and I was like, what the heck, man? But sorry, yeah, I had to get that in there. But there's a couple times like me, myself, Fuki, and Yovi, like we played together our whole entire lives, and we were skilled. Like we were actually quite good. So we played. I remember at one point I played U12, U14, U16, and maybe U18. I might just be tooting my own horn, but I swear I feel like I might have played like U18 at one point or another.
May as well.
And yeah, honestly, and like there was one point I remember provincials. I had to play. At provincials, I had to play U12, U14, and U16, and I played like 8 games in one day, and then 7 games the next day, and like you're exhausted. Like it's stupid how many games you play. Categories, and like being in so many different age categories, like we did actually play like sometimes more than 3, sometimes more than 4 games in a day, and like eventually as we got older, like the number came down, but it was still like very demanding. So like we were like essentially forced to be in shape, and that's why we wanted to go to practice, because we're like, God, we're tired. So
yeah. We got to be there. We got to put in the work, and that was shit. So you said like you loved it because it's very one-on-one. Is it like, oh, we're playing the Jets this weekend, it's me and that guy, like you know who you're going to be matched up against? Did you have like, oh, this bitch, this is my guy?
Yeah. No, it's like it's a very small community. So like we all knew each other from like all ends of the country. Like even like we mostly play against the West because of the West Coast, but like we all knew the East teams because like the national team and everything like that. So like whoever got made the national team, you know, this person's like actually a good player and whatever. So, but it was typically against the West teams. So there's a couple guys that were out there that we just hated, right? So like anytime we play against them, we just like we plot ways to like get to this person, like, and there was like some mean shit that we wanted to do to some people, and like it's like, yeah, thinking back on it now, it was like, it's like, yeah, you're a psycho, but it was justified because they were thinking the exact same thing to you, and like, yeah, this is like years and years of playing with the same people, so like you either grow to like them or you grow to hate them. There's no
Yeah, trust me, when I was younger and playing high school handball and everything, I got a lot of red cards, a shocking amount for a goalie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why? What did you do?
Well, then my last year I played as a back, and I'm scoring like 12 goals a game, and so I'm getting matched up with their best guy, and of course I'm going to be talking shit. They're talking shit. It's getting like pushy, and then of course people step in. But anywho,
let me tell you about my red card. I was just like, I went to my first or second nationals ever, right? And I'm like, once you go to nationals, like you think you're like at like a different level, like you got to be freaking on point and on cue. And I'm such an asshole, but we missed the ball, or the goalie got the ball, and like this kid grabbed my leg as I was like swimming to go on defense. He grabbed my leg, and I stopped, and I turned around, and I literally just stomped him with my foot right in the nose, like back of the foot, just right there. And the goalie's like, yeah, red card, get the fuck out of here. And I like learned my lesson. My coach was livid. He's like, why did you do that? What was the point? And I was like, I don't know.
Blacked out, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
So as you were explaining like the teams and who makes national team and stuff, how good is Canada on a global scale? Are they very good at all, or were they ever like stronger, or are they getting better now, like kind of like our soccer team is? Or
not to that level yet. Our female side in 2019, I think maybe 2019, 2018, they got fourth place at World Championships, and this was like, whoa, like out of nowhere they got fourth place. And like this was in Hungary too. I think that they beat Hungary in the quarterfinals, and like Hungary is also another country that loves water polo, so like their stadium was packed, and like they just like silenced this whole country. And it was awesome. I could be wrong on like who they played and when, where they played and when, but yeah, so they got fourth, and they ended up going on to the Olympics, and they didn't do so well. But our men's program, it's quite young right now. Like it's had a coaching change recently. I know that. A lot of the guys who I played against growing up are on that national team now, and like they're my age, so like 23, 24, around that zone. Like they have a couple older players, but I think their last Olympic berth was 2008, and that's kind of how like we judge if a team's like good or not. Like kind of for water polo, it's like if you can make the Olympics, like that's a big deal, right? So their last Olympic berth was 2008, and we actually have one of the best whole sets in the whole world. Like this guy's like absolute monster. Like he's played on the top top Champions League teams. Like in I think Italy. I think he played for one team was called Pro Reco, and I can't remember where he plays now. I think it might be for Hungarian team. But like this guy's like, he's known like across the water polo world as like one of the best whole sets in like the whole like in the world, and like he's very well renowned, and he's just a monster. Nicolas Constantin Picari.
Nice. That's a good name for a star.
Yeah, he's a French guy. I think he's from Montreal, and he's a monster.
So you mentioned the ages of the team is because I've been watching the Winter Olympics and stuff, and I was watching the figure skating, and they're like, oh, this is her last competition. They did really well. I'm like, that girl can't be that old. And then I'm like, I bet you she's 22. And they're like, she's 22. I'm like, how is that her last Olympics? But in like gymnastics, figure skating, you kind of age out quick. So in like water polo, like do people get over 30? Is that common, or is it like a young man's game?
No, it's pretty common to like it depends really on your
like
skill level, obviously. Like if you're good, it's like, it's not like super hard on your, like, like you're throwing a ball, like that's obviously going to have like prolonged effects on your arm. Like it gets like whatever, rotator cuff, like whatever, but it's not like you get like so many broken bones, or it's not like it's extremely difficult on your body, right? It's not like you're like jumping and like doing crazy stuff to put like a lot of pain on your joints and stuff. So like you're don't really get into the you don't really like do anything that like affects your body and like gravitationally.
Yeah.
So like I feel like and like in probably than more sports, it's like the length of the career length is probably like longer. So
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
That makes sense. And yeah, as you said, it's like the stress on the joints, and
Yeah.
you're not rolling your ankle or breaking your ankle unless someone kicks you or something. But yeah, that makes sense. That's a. I was just thinking mostly just going back to cardio. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking make it. I'm not gonna make it, man.
And
But I
even
mean,
like
but if you just stay in shape and you stay with it, then you probably get better with conserving your energy and learning the way of the pool or whatever.
yes, you become kind of like a older and played water polo. Like I realized that like a lot of these like the best players in the world, like they're always gonna be in shape because like that's just like their career and like they practice all the time and everything like that. But they're also just like so smart that like they know where to go and know where to be, that they can conserve all this energy. So it's not like you have to be in like, I don't think, at least I've never played professional, but I don't think you have to be in tip top shape to do that. But these guys are also just like monsters, like
Specimen.
monsters, like just like 6'5" and like 250, 260. Like you cannot move them. And they just like, there's no problem with them like moving in the water and like exerting so much energy because they are that energy. Like
I am energy.
yes, exactly.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I was just curious. I'm like, well, maybe career change, but we'll see. It might be too late now.
We should get you in a pool, Lyndon.
Yeah, man. I mean, just give me a ball. I got a basketball over there. How big's the ball? Isn't it closer to like a soccer ball size?
Yeah, actually, maybe around the size of a soccer ball. I feel like it's like maybe like a
Volleyball
little bit bigger than a volleyball,
Okay.
like something like that. And it's like also like made different. Like it's like it has to be like grippy in the water, so it's like made more like rubbery.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually made of rubber, but like that's what it feels like. Yeah, it's probably rubber. I'm pretty sure it's rubber, but yeah, it's like it's got different, like it has grooves in the ball, so like it can
Yeah,
mesh with your fingertips.
Is
Like
it
you can
hard
grab it.
to grip the ball?
It's not. It's not like you just get used to it. Like if you get a really good ball, like you can literally just grab it, like make sure it gets wet, you grab it, and like you can just do this for like hours and like nothing will happen. Unless you have really tiny hands, which is unfortunate.
Too bad.
Yeah.
So, what with my very limited water polo knowledge, I was curious about like the style of shot. Is this? I always see like a bounce shot. Is that the best shot to take?
It really
Or
depends.
is
It's
that like
situational.
is that like more say so as a handball goalie, you when I was studying tape, I would see, you find the tendencies of the shooter. If he's like, oh, he
Mhm.
shoots this side more often, then when he gets tired, he's going to resort back to his favorite spot. Is do people tend, is it easier to throw with his bounce shot, would you say, to score, or it just kind of depends what the goalie's doing? Because I see a lot
Yeah,
of bounce shots and I feel like I want to do that.
it really depends what the goalie's doing. Like I feel like it's I don't really know how to like explain it. You kind of figure it out as like the game goes, and like if you see an opening, like I liked skip shotting more because I couldn't get corners. Like I wasn't really good at like shooting. It's not that I wasn't good at shooting, but I was very inaccurate a lot of my
It's just
career.
in the
So
water
like
slide in the back.
yeah, exactly. And like just hitting people in the kiddie pool. Yeah, that was me. But no, like I like skipping more. I don't know why. It was like I feel like you had like it was maybe there was more probability to score if the goalie couldn't read it
Yeah,
because like it has to skip and like maybe they can't read it exactly where it's gonna skip because like you can have like skip shots that like a skipping rock, and then you have ones that can go up in the sky, like just
yeah.
like different ones. So it's again it's situational and like it really depends. But yeah, I don't think that there's really like a
Yeah,
benefit to doing a
it's
skip
similar.
shot over.
Yeah, it'd be the same as like handball. You do a spin, you do a bounce shot, you're shooting high, low, whatever. So
Yeah, exactly.
what are what are like the trick shots? Is all kind of based on the different skips? Are there anything else people kind of do, or is it more like the type of skip that you do is there like an incredible one? You got to see this one. It's like
No, for us, it's like you can't like I don't know. there's lobs, obviously, like those, like if you can do like a nice lob, it's like, oh, like it's
Yeah.
beautiful, right? Like if the goalie's just like gets up to save the ball and like gets up like all the way up to his suit, and then all of a sudden you just like change your shot like mid, like he doesn't expect it at all, and it's like he's like got high for nothing, and it's like he just drops down as the ball just floating over him. So that's like awesome. I love those. But like for us, like where we would get like besides obviously having like also like a nice shot, like one that was like super like just a really clean shot, like we would typically call like a nice goal if like you were one-on-one with the player and like you just like demolished him by like getting in front of him, like just taking him for a ride, like he's on your back and like you're just like outworking him, like using your legs, and like you just get around and just like score on him. Like he's doing everything he possibly can to like not let you score the goal, but like
And you're just
can't
going.
do anything, and like
Yeah.
and you just go and score the goal. Like there's like a couple trick shots, but like it's very seldom like that they happen. Like there's like you take a ball and like you throw it forward and like it'll land on the back of your hand and like you pull it back. So like that's like impossible to do. Like you'd have to have so much time on your hands to do that. Like you have to be a 1-0 and like the team's like waiting for you to shoot the ball instead of swimming back to get it.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that. But
Okay. So I want to go to coaching. So I'm curious because you said you haven't coached in a while. When was
since
the
I
last
started
time?
work.
Okay.
October, September, yeah, like kind of when the seasons when our like new season started. That's when I stopped coaching.
So when you get like, what age group were you with, like beginners kind of, or like younger, like?
Yeah, I was with
players?
beginners. I was with beginners from U12 to U14, and then I assistant coached like a little bit with the U16 group as well.
Yeah. So how do you, or what do you say to them when they get out of the pool for the first time and they're just dead? Like, what do you say? Like, it's gonna get better, or?
Welcome to the sport. Like that's honestly like it doesn't get better. I'll tell you that, because like there's gonna be very hard practices, and like especially if you're that young, and like we're like trying to integrate you into water polo so that you like it and that you can get like an interest in it, so that at least we can have someone that wants to play for us, right? Like that's like what's most important for us, is to have people to fall in love with the game. So like kind of starts off mellow a little bit, you know, like getting them into the game, and then once we know we got them for good, then we start training them.
Then we literally throw them in the deep end.
No, we don't do that. We make it fun for the younger kids. Like we definitely make it fun. But like as they get older, like obviously the training gets more serious, and then depending on if you want to take a more recreational route or if you want to go more competitive, that's when that's like the main difference in like training sessions and everything like that. So
when teams do their training sessions, do they just do like, okay, we're doing 10 lengths? Is it like a lot of just like distance swimming, or is that mostly like, what are the trainings like? It's like plays, or do you actually just 30 minutes, we get in there and we swim a bunch?
So it really depends. So like at the beginning of the year, and also it depends recreational or competitive. So I'll go competitive. Like when I was playing, we would typically in the beginning, like first month and a half of the season, like we would do very long distance. So like we would do 800 meters times 4, and that would be like one of our sets. And then we drop down to maybe like do 2 or like 4 times 400 meter, and that'd be like one practice. Like we'd swim for majority of the practice. Like I remember when we finish our seasons in water polo and we come back the next year, I hated coming back because our coach didn't let us touch a ball for like a month, a month straight of just swimming, getting into like at least like the breathing and like just everything, so you can get back into shape somewhat, and then you eventually start with the balls. But let's say it's middle of the season and you have a tournament in like a month or something like that. We would typically do swimming for the first hour of practice, hour and a half of practice if it's a 2.5 hour practice. So yeah, swimming, it'd be like less, it'd be less distance, but you would probably you'd have to exert more energy on a smaller amount of time. That's how like we'd get into shape, everything like that. We do our typical set would either be like 200 meters times 10 or 100 meters times 10. So you do that on like a minute 30 for the 100 meters. And then that's like, that's how I knew I was in shape. If I could make like a minute and 20 seconds on my minute 30, 100 meters, I was like, okay, like I'm definitely headed in the right direction. Like I'm in decent shape. Like I can play like a bunch. And
It
then yeah,
sounds so
like you do
fucked,
your
man. Like at this, just these
it's
numbers. You're like 200 meters. I'm like, okay, maybe times 10. I'm like, oh God, what is this?
I'm just thinking in my head, like we and like come closer to tournaments, like you make the shorter distance of swimming and everything like that. So like it's just like sprints at that point, and like just being in that like just getting your body used to like exertion
Yeah,
levels
yeah,
and
yeah.
on different periods of the game, right? So after you finish swimming, you'd move typically onto legs, and then that's when you'd like do leg work. So you either have like a medicine ball, like a weighted ball, or you take a flutter board and do just flutter kick back and forth. Like there's so much different stuff. Like egg beater is obviously really important. So you maybe carry a medicine ball to the
Yeah,
wall, coming back, you go backwards and then go into the side, left, right. Um, there's jumps, like right. So like they
yeah,
have different jumps that you have to do, two hands, jumping to the side. Like you use all of these motions in the game, like
yeah, yeah,
all of them. So
yeah,
like you actually have to like exercise like so much like when it comes to legs. And then eventually we get to passing and shooting, and that's just
yeah, yeah.
pretty typical. Like we would do like whole set work, like where the whole sets would work together, and like they would be playing offense and defense on each other, and then blockers blocking. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
there wasn't a lot of plays that I recall doing when I played water polo. It was more so just it's a very situational game, and like yes, there was plays, but like
It's more
okay, you know what?
free flowing type. If some guy misses
Yeah,
a marker or something, it's like, oh shit, there's our opening. Get it to him type.
yes. I'm mistaken. We did a couple plays, like there would be like picks and stuff like that, which is like, but like we never really ran them. Like we would mostly focus on like the basics of like our whole sets and everything like that. So
Okay,
yeah, that's a typical practice. That's a typical practice. Just swimming, warm up, swim, legs, passing, shooting.
wonderful. Sounds like I'm ready to go. How long would you need before you can play a game? If you tomorrow, if coach called you, be like, "Yo, I need 5 weeks." Like it's a
What
UFC.
level am I playing at? What level am I playing at?
You're playing at like guys are all your skill level,
Um,
but like they've been playing. You have to jump in. How long do you
yeah,
need to
I'd
get ready?
I'd probably give myself like if I had someone that's all my life depended on was training, eating well,
Yeah.
studying water polo, like all this, I'd probably give myself like 2-3 months to get
Ooh.
back into like that really good shape. And if I was like training like every single day, like doing weights and blah 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 and this and that, like 3 months, 3 months, 2 months
Okay.
seems like a little like too little.
Okay. Um, Milan, I'm glad you came on. Thank you for being on the show. We have one last segment, but I want to say thank you. I've learned a lot about polo. I kind of want to check it out.
Thanks for having me, man. And anytime you're back in Edmonton, and we could go to Kinsman. I have a bunch of balls at home. We'll get a couple
Perfect.
balls, and you'll be in net, and I'll just be sniping skip shots at you.
Yeah, and we'll be good for 5 minutes, and then I'll call it.
Deal.
So I do have, as we always do on this show, we got a rapid fire for you. So you're going to say the first thing that comes to your head, and even if it's not the correct answer that you wanted, it's what you said. Okay.
I'm settling with. Okay.
It's going to be all over the place. Okay.
Okay.
What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Oreos.
What's your favorite college basketball team? Who do you cheer for if you had to pick somebody?
Syracuse.
Hey, that's where my wife graduated from.
No way.
Yeah, Orange. Or
That's
whatever.
where Mello went. I think that's why
Yeah.
I liked him.
There's her diploma right there. What's the best meal you make personally?
I'm a terrible cook. My breakfast sandwich.
Nice. This one might be self-explanatory, or it might be a surprise. You're going on vacation. Are you going to the mountains or the beach?
Beach.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Water,
Yeah.
sand, warm.
Oh, warmth.
Okay, rapid fire. I want you as quick as possible. Who's the GOAT? LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
LeBron.
Nice. Who's the worst Hollywood hooper we play with?
Beep. For sure. Boris. I was gonna say Boris, but Habib for sure. Boris has some initiative. All right, like this guy like wants to get a bucket. Habib's just chilling by the 3-point line and just
screen wide open. I ain't shooting. Pass it out. Who's your favorite rapper right now?
Don't think Travis Scott, always.
And last but not least, who's your personal hero?
Probably my dad. Very Tom Brady-esque answer, but my dad.
I love it, man. That's normally what it is. It's usually like a grandparent, a parent, or something like that. So, Milan, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Made it through your episode. And, and everybody who is listening, this has been the Always Moving Podcast with your host, Lyndon Suvanto. And as we say around here, let's keep this thing moving.